All right. Noodling, right? Heavy dose of noodles here on a Tuesday. I've been working on some session stuff, some demo stuff for the upcoming Kennedy Wood project, hopefully next year, and prepping for the big Bijou show, Knoxville, December 12th, homecoming show. Really excited about that. Trying to get all of the loose ends tied up, finalize what tunes we're going to play, etc. Things like that. So, so much goes into the music industry. I was on a call just a few minutes before the stream, and it's everything from what's the difference between a media kit and an EPK? God, half the time I don't even know. Like, I just want to throw my hands up in the air and go, I don't know the answer. I just don't know what stuff goes where and who it goes to. And I consider myself pretty savvy from a business standpoint, but at some point there's so many so many abbreviations and so many last names and so many email threads that things just start sliding through the cracks and you don't even know what the hell goes where, you know? And it's hard to maintain that laser-like focus on the craft, on the tone and the gear and the songs and the riffs and maintain, what you want to have accomplished from a business standpoint. It's really tough. There's a lot of moving pieces in the music industry, and that becomes more and more evident as my solo career has scaled. In comparison to just being a hired gun. As a hired gun, it's always somebody else's problem, which is kind of, sometimes kind of nice. But when it's your baby, you've got a lot more of the responsibility, and it takes a village to raise an idiot. That's for sure. Because Lord knows you got to surround yourself with people. And the guy I was talking to, I was just like, at some point, I just need somebody to just be like, yeah, this is great. and just answer for me, like, just be like, go get them. Right. You got to have somebody that you can hand the keys to, right? Essentially on the business side, you want to be able to hand those car keys to somebody and be like, hey man, you got this, the name of the stream today is Your Gear Doesn't Matter. That's a hot take coming from a guy who loves gear. The reality is, last week we talked about the FM9 and I was using it in a hybrid situation. Of course, I love my amps, and I'm playing through the SL68 right now with my pedals, and I love it. I mean, I love it. I love the sound. It's real chewy and fun to play on. I mean, I love that. It's a real good, greasy tone to play on. I've got the halo doing what it does. Sorry. But the gear, at the end of the equation, there's an element of this that rings true. It doesn't matter. If I were to play the Les Paul, good, bad, or ugly, I still sound like Andy. I'm just Andy playing a Les Paul. If I play the Micro Cube in the other room, same kind of thing, right? I love gear. I do. And I try my best not to let it become a distraction, because we're always looking to try to raise the quality of what we do by another 4%, right? Another 4%. Just make it that much better. But really, at the end of the game, you got to have an instrument that you can trust. But everything else is just kind of flavors. They're just kind of seasonings that happen, right? If I were to play through the Dr. Z, it would be a different kind of seasoning, or the Diesel, it'd be a different kind of seasoning, or the Fractal, for that matter. And it's really up to me to play to that seasoning. If I were to, and you got to bear with me, I'm starting to get a little cold. The weather's here. I got the runny nose. I got the sore throat. I got all the things. So bear with me. But if I were to turn on the wah or the fuzz, I wouldn't be able to maintain this kind of ballad-esque playing that I'm doing with these chords and stuff, That kind of relates to these seasonings. And playing to those seasonings, I think it's something I talked about in the Patreon class the other night. You play to the tone that's being served. And I challenged the guys in the Patreon masterclass. I challenged them. I said, hey guys, wherever you left off, like if I were to quit playing, wherever I left off, that's the tone that when I pick back up, I don't change anything. I just play the ball right where it lies. And you figure out what's going to make this tone right here, not changing anything. What's going to make this tone sound good? It's a good strumming tone for sure. it might be a good lead tone, you know, if the solo is kind of sexier, right? Right? Could be a good tone for that. It could also be nice for... It could be nice for that too. Playing within the realms of the gear, that's really so valuable. And when you sit down to practice, maybe it's something that I've always kind of subconsciously done that I never made, like I said, subconscious level, I never realized I was doing it. But any tone that was pulled up, I tried to like lean into it, drive into the tone instead of kind of steering away from, oh, it's not, this isn't the tone that lets me do all the tricks. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like if you got the super gain tone, you can't be real sexy with it. You know, it's like it's super gained out. You can't play a lot of huge, lush kind of chords that have a lot of density. You know? It starts to turn into nothing, right? But right. Far cry different from, you know, what's going to make that sound good, right? That could actually be snappy kind of, I can get lost in it, truthfully. I mean, just kind of evident that I was starting to get lost in it just then, and just start playing the guitar and leaning into the tones that that are happening kind of around me. And I guess that's what I mean. Oh, shoot. I guess that's what I mean when I say the gear doesn't matter, right? It's like I look around the room and I've got all this great amps and stuff. And I half the time I'd say when I'm practicing, I'm playing through a $88 Black Star 3-watt thing that fits in my backpack, because that's what's always in the hotel room with me when I'm on the road, is that Black Star. I feel like I practice through it more than anything else. You know, I play the big gear for live streams or shows or whatever, dialing in tones for live performance and whatnot. But yeah, shoot, man, it's like really. I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately, which is never wise. Don't sit and watch YouTube. But I saw a thing with Marcus King playing with Corey Henry that was killer. And, you know, typically Marcus has this giant orange amplifier on stage with him. And it's ripping. You know, you can just tell Marcus plays loud. But I watched this thing with Corey Henry, and he was playing a small little, looked like a little Fender Pro reverb. I don't know what was behind it, but it looked like something like that. A Vibrolux or something, you know. And he sounded great. He sounded fantastic. Another video that it suggested that popped up was Derek Trucks, and Derek was playing some small little club, not like with Tedeschi Trucks or the Allman Brothers or anything. He was sitting in with somebody at some small club and just sounded killer. You know, of course, you see, you know, Bonamassa, and he's always playing at the Baked Potato with a little, you know, of course it's loud, but it's not like his mega rig that he uses on tour. And every time it's just, these guys are just ripping, and it just shows how kind of irrelevant that the gear is. You know, there's a comment right here I just popped in. Again, sorry for the sinus congestion stuff. There's going to be a lot of nose wiping. Beaver here says, so the tone is in the hands. I mean, it is, but let's be more finite than that. Let's scope into that. I can't make the tone that we have right now distorted with my hands. There's no way. There's not enough. It doesn't distort. There's not enough gas in the tank to get that to distort. So the idea, though, here's what I mean by let's scope in on it. Play to the tone that's being presented. Even the delay right there is super heavy for the amount of notes that I just started playing. But this is where this tone might be nice for. You know, it might be nice for that kind of thing. Sorry. Like that sounds like that would be the start of a song, right? I guess that's what I mean. You play into the tone that's being presented for you instead of trying to put a square peg in a round hole and play your pet licks, you know, blues licks. That's where stuff really gets amateur sounding to me. I hear the same busted lick through whatever tone, and that to me is a very and I speak this way not as to trying to sound gatekeeping or elitist or any of that, but when I say amateur, that's the thing that makes me feel like you haven't played gigs. Like if I walked into the Guitar Center and there's a clean tone, somebody trying out a Fender Deluxe, I'm going to turn the delay down just for argument's sake. Put a little reverb on there. Yeah. For argument's sake, so you got a Fender Deluxe going on. And somebody's over there going, that lick doesn't suit that tone very much, does it? Right? But if we had, you know, Immediately it's infinitely cooler because it's now presented with the tone that makes it sound good. Yeah, versus the amateur. So how do I take this lick and play it to this tone? You know, maybe it's got to be now it doesn't sound as amateur, right? Or maybe maybe something to be like. Still walking. Maybe be like this too. Maybe another option. Maybe like that sounds kind of cool. That sounds like it belongs, right? That now the way that I'm playing is starting to suit the sound of the guitar, right? Oh, sorry. If I heard the guy playing the deluxe at Guitar Center doing that, I'd be like, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing. This guy's played a lot of gigs. Be like, oh yeah, okay, well this is a career player, you know. It's like he's got, and I think that's maybe the angle is being aware. And let's do one other caveat when we scope in here when we talk about tone in the hands. This is the hands. These pickups and this controller. Dude, you can do so much right there, you know? You know, it's like just moving things around on the guitar. You get really, you know, so much different texture. I'm still thinking about this. I'm still thinking about that right there as this loose outline and how to play around it. You know, if you change the equation, now we got a whole different thing. So a lot of the things that I was just playing won't work now, you know. Those swing licks sound okay, but they need now with all this gain. You got to really dig in to make the guitar talk. So on and so forth, right? Maybe that would be even better if it was like a... You know? You know, everything keeps being a sliding scale. And when you say the tones in the hands, yes and, right? It's not no, it's yes and. How do you play to the tone that's being provided to you? I think that's it, right? So let's hit some Q&A here. It really boils down to this. It's like, can you put together good phrases with a loose outline that suits the tone, right? That's the one we were kind of working on, and it's kind of Jimmy Page-esque like that. But if I wanted more of a Steve Morse kind of vibe to it, you know. You know, it'd be more, I would have more of those chromatics. Kind of really tripling down on that dregs kind of thing, like the big swooping chromatics into a big bend, right? Still think about this. You know, if it was a Van Halen thing, it might be one more time. You know, it's still this, though. I'm just seeing it through maybe some Edward-inspired optics, right? Time for some Q&A. Let's turn this other camera off. If you like the show and you like hanging here on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if this is good to you, think about going over to Patreon. Getting you some guitar lessons over there. There's plenty of stuff. I just uploaded the FM9 patches that I used last week out with Gary LaVox of Rascal Flatts. We played a private party. It was really fun. It was with, I think his name's Clayton Kershaw. Does that sound right? He's a pitcher for the Dodgers, and he was retiring. So we did his party, and it was really fun. You know, if you want to try those sounds out, even the smallest subscription at Patreon will get you access to things like that and those tones. So let's hit some Q&A here up in the chat. Thanks everyone for hanging out here, and let's go. Okay, the Atomic Chaser is in the house. He says, I use amp sims a lot. I just plugged into my Rocktron Voodoo valve with a cab sim. There's a difference. It sounds warmer. In plugins and modeling technology, I think so much of what we hear is not actually the device that we're playing, the fractal or the quad cortex. It's the vehicle in which the device is delivered to our ears. For instance, mine would be these Mackies, or if you were using a QSC or a JBL or any kind of pro audio gear. Those are all going to have different curves on the EQ. That's going to make it feel like the equipment, the fractal or the modeler, doesn't sound as good. So what I did with the FM9, where I really had like this like light bulb moment, was with the Seymour Duncan Power Stage 100. This actually is killer. So what I did, I know this cabinet behind me very well. This is this diesel 412 cabinet that I've had since probably 2014 or so. This thing's been all over the planet with all kinds of different artists. I have two of these diesel cabs. They're loaded with G1265s. It's one of my favorite speakers, and it's one of these cabinets are probably the best sounding cabinets I've ever played. They just sound fantastic. And for what I like, at least. And what I did was bypass the IR and went into the power stage and then into that cabinet. And that gave me a reference point where I'd known what the cabinet sounded like. It sounded so good, so warm, you know. And then I had the IR on going to the Mackies, or, you know, when we were on the road, going to the in-ears in front of house. Sounded great, you know, but really having a reference point of something that I knew, and also when you run it with a power amp into a real guitar cabinet with the IR off, it sounds like guitar cabinet. Like it sounds like it's supposed to. And that's huge. So I'm sure you're experiencing a little bit of that. Atomic, you know. Okay, here we go. A Hollywood actress is in the house. I totally agree that it doesn't matter to an extent. Came across Instatine guitar player. He had a Fender practice amp. Delay and distortion pedal, sounded great. Played amazing. Yeah, you know. He had the determination to practice and get good and play into the tone, right? Playing into it, leaning into what it is. Okay, Fort Worth is in the house. It says, Andy, I just got the Cerebella, one of my favorite amps. Nice. Clean is amazing. I need help getting from that to my lead tone. I'm running an Empress compressor, Noble's ODR1. I need something in between. Let's do this. Let me jump over to the Bella. Stand by. And number 4. Yeah, let that bad boy warm up a little bit. Here we go. That's probably how that thing go. So now I've switched over to the Bella. And there's probably going to be a little bit of level difference because the SL68 is so much louder. Yeah. There's the Bella right there. Obviously more Fender sounding in the clean tone. Nice and sparkly. I love it for this kind of stuff. Yeah. That's like what I was playing at the top of the show, right? It's way more stringy sounding, you know? Now these overdrives are going to be a little more buzzy. box. Okay, so as you can see, the Bella is way more sheen and way more scooped, than the SL68. So this is for Fort Worth, and Fort Worth is saying, I need help getting from the clean tone to the lead tone. Running an Empress compressor, which is a good compressor, but it's no match for the Woodshed. I said what I said. The Woodshed compressor is my favorite. And the Noble's ODR1. I'm assuming that's your lead tone. So with that said, I imagine the Empress compressor and the ODR1 is a much lower gain tone than what I use for lead. So things that I like with the Bella, the Sir Bella, I really like the Blues Driver style circuit, which is what you're hearing right now. This is a Keeley AT mod. Sounds great. Sounds great in songs too. Like, sounds really great. Huh? This is a great in-between tone. This is what I use for that's what I use for that kind of stuff. Or maybe I think this is a great sound for that in-between sound that you're talking about. Now, if you want to step up the heat a little bit, this Wampler Pantheon kind of can... I think the Pantheon kind of straddles the line between mid-gain, excuse me, and lead tone. So like with the volume down, that's really nice for that. open it up. Cable's getting hung behind me, right? No. Still got enough, plenty of gain for all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, this might be an interesting pedal, too. But again, comparing that to the Blues Driver. You know, that's kind of nice right there. The bell is so stringy. And I love it about it. Right. Yep. Cool. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that helps out with looking at some of that in between thing. You know, the Nobles is a great pedal. I really like the Wampler Bell. That's essentially the copy of the Nobles. I like it just because it's small. You know, gear can indeed inspire the player. And that's really where you want to live. You want to live where you've got a piece of gear that just kind of nudges you, just ever so lovingly nudges you into the right direction of playing something, you know, being inspired enough to play to something good, not just blowing a bunch of crappy half-cooked licks over a bunch of heavy distortion, right? Like phoning it in. That's really kind of what I maybe we're kind of hovering around here, is like having a tone that just allows you to phone it in. That's not the answer. Okay, let's hit some more questions here. Rolling through the afternoon. A lovely Tuesday afternoon, even though I kind of have some nasal stuff that I hate. I feel like I don't need to know how gear works as long as Pete Thorne exists in this timeline. Yeah, Pete's a when it comes to that stuff, he's a freaking borderline genius. It's crazy. He's one of my favorites. I mean, he's the guy you want to produce your record. You know what I mean? Pete's just got that attention to detail on a sonic landscape that's just so great. Do you ever feel hard to play when the sound guy changes the tone of your guitar? Let me tell you this right now. Possibly the best advice I can give anybody today. What's today's date? November the 18th. Tuesday, November the 18th. Let me give you the best advice I can ever give you. When you get to the venue, introduce yourself to the sound man. Be kind to the sound man. Think about this. They have to hear the most busted, terrible stuff all the time. All the time. They have to hear some really terrible playing. They have to hear some terrible tone, and they've got to try to fix it. He's going to have a low threshold for incompetence. He's going to be grumpy. He's going to be moody. Go up. Be nice to the sound man. Buy him a beer. Introduce yourself. Have him come and hear your rig on stage to where he can replicate it at front of house. You need to make sure the sound man is on your team. If he is against you, you are sunk. You have to work with your sound engineer. If you're hell-bent for leather to play the volume you're going to play, respect the sound man. Buy the Joe Bonamassa plexiglass shields. Put them in front of your amp. In Nashville, people put their flight cases in front of their deluxes when they play on Broadway. Respect the sound man as best you can. You know, if you're lucky enough to be in a position where you're touring professionally, you're going to be working with the same sound man every night. He's going to dial you in. Nothing can make the guitar harder to play than the sound man changing your tone. This is where we're going with it. Get this sound man on your team so you can respectfully ask him not to change your tone. If you feel like you got the sound and it's working, have him work with you, you know? That's best advice I can give. Thanksgiving's coming up for sure. It's around the corner. What is it, next week? Is Thanksgiving next week, guys? I hadn't even thought about it, you know. Yeah, play into the tone. You know, that's the thing. So here we go. This is not a popular opinion. This comes from C. Blair, 94. Not a popular opinion, but I've always felt that the tone is a symbiotic thing. Character is in the hands. Sound is in the gear, and the two come together to make the tone. Yeah, it is a symbiotic thing. And as the tone is one thing, you play into it. You know, you play into the lead tone and the distortion, get the pick squeals and stuff. You play into the nuance of a great clean tone that's got that bell-like quality. Man, that's you lean into what it's doing. You don't try to swim upstream against it and force your thing into the sonic environment that it's not, you know. The country tone is awesome. I mean, the country tone is just really clean and I mean, it's a simple thing, guys. You know, you think about the great country players of the world, and they're using a blackface Fender amp and a telly, and kind of there. You know, maybe a little bit of boost, maybe a little bit of compression, but you're kind of getting there already. You know. Did you ever write something that's hard to play live? Yeah, I did. I do often. I'm an idiot for doing it, but yes, I've done that. Free Range Chicken with the Brent Mason solo that goes into the tapping solo is a handful. The arpeggios at the end of Master Gracie's. Those arpeggios in Master Gracie's Manor that's shoo. Those are a handful too. All right, here we go. A couple more questions here. We're dialing it down. Yeah. People asking about the live stream. It's Tuesdays at 3 unless I'm on the road. That's what happens. Ben's chiming in here. My man Ben. He says, Andy, your FM9 patches are great. Any more patches coming soon? Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ben. Great to hear from you. Hope you're having a great day and getting you some guitar time in. Those were a bit of a test bed to see how I was going to mesh with the FM9 and the power stage. So I'm going to be building some more fractal stuff. There's some fractal stuff coming really soon. That's all I have the liberty to say. Here's Dan says, if you make Andy sound bad, you really shouldn't be doing sound. You got to work with your sound engineer so he knows what you're delivering and what your goal is. You know, I'm also very respectful of the sound engineer's opinion. I'm very blessed, man. Let me tell you about some of the guys I've worked with. I've worked with Jonathan Lozier, and Lozier's a great sound man that has worked with him at Rascal Flatts. Jonathan does, he's worked with Prince. He's worked with John Legend. I've worked with Ace Baker a lot. Ace is incredible. And Jimmy T, that's almost like a combo deal. They do sound for Dream Theater and Satriani and Sammy Hagar. And they do, you know, Jimmy T does monitors for Dream Theater. Incredible. Rob Bastian. You know, Rob is a dude that has run sound for Gary LaVox this year, and he also runs sound for Big and Rich. These are guys that and Stu Delk runs monitors for those guys. I mean, I'm going to be very aware of their opinion. And if we're in a room, see, I can't be at front of house. My tone may be glorious on the stage, but by the time it gets to front of house, there's too much echo because we're playing in a concrete arena. I'm going to be very cognizant of my guys, and it's not going to be me versus production team. It's going to be us working together to get the sound out. You know, here's a workaround. Look, if you got a trifecta, you got a great player, a great monitor guy, and a great front of house guy. Let me give you a scenario right here. Guitar player loves the sauce and the effects. You know, maybe he's a guy like me or Timmons or Huff, where we like all that verb and echo and stuff. It sounds killer and full and love it. And you're playing a concrete arena and there's too much echo in front of house. Here's what you do. You dial the echo back out of your rig. Front of house is happy. Now you go to your monitoring guy and say, hey, just for tonight on my monitor scene and my in-ears, can you add me a little bit of that reverb back in or a little bit of that echo back in that I'm cutting out? Hey, no problem, Andy. Let me just slide that up for you. That's how you solve issues. That's how you stay inspired. Front of house is happy. That's what your monitor guy's there for. Work with your team. You know, it sounds awesome how the amp do it front of house. They can't because the amount of echo doesn't translate, right? This is, you know, it's a team effort to make something killer. To be great doesn't mean just going out there and playing guitar really good. I mean, some of the most boring concerts I've ever seen is some of the best playing on the planet, but it's not entertaining. And I don't mean somebody's not out there riding a motorcycle and juggling chainsaws while they're playing giant steps. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about engaging and the production sounding really good. You know, that's the thing, is it's got to sound good at front of house. Yeah, here we go. Just my thoughts. Dave is saying, Andy, I have the VP4 and Andy did a few. Talking about the stock presets. Yeah, there's the band ego meets the engineer ego. That's what we're talking about, right? You know. Wesley is saying, Andy, have you ever played through or owned a solid state amp? If so, what was it? And do you like the tones? Thanks for what you do. Cheers, Wesley. I hope you're doing well on a lovely Tuesday. And my very first amp that I ever had was a PV Bandit. And Randy Heston found one and got me one for my birthday recently. I've not played through it. Maybe we do a live stream with the old PV Bandit. I think growing up without a lot of money to spend on gear. You know, I was a broke kid. Couldn't go out and buy Mesa Boogie amplifiers and stuff like that. I remember I bought my first real amp was a Subway Rocket from Mesa Boogie. And, you know, it was a big deal. The tube amp and it, you know. Anyways, where was I? The PV Bandit. I had to figure it out, man. I was trying to learn all this stuff from the G3 DVDs and concerts. I was trying to learn all that stuff with a PV Bandit and a yellow Boss overdrive, and I had to figure out a way to try to make it work, you know. And I think that made me focus on the playing more and the gear less, and it was really super beneficial. Sling and Wire Studios in the house. Andy, I hope to see you live soon. Finally made the move across country down to Chattanooga. Thanks for inspiring us. I'll tell you what, Sling and Wire, December 12th, we're going to be playing the Charisma music at the Bijou in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that theater is gorgeous. The last time I was on that stage, I was with Eric Johnson, which was incredible. Childhood hero of mine, and he invited me out to play some music and sit in with him on Zap and open the show for him with my buddy Daniel Kimbrough. So I'm excited to return to the Bijou on December 12th. Sorry, my throat's killing me. Return to the Bijou on December 12th and bring the Charisma album music to it. So if you're in Chattanooga, get online and get your tickets. I don't think it's sold out yet, but it's approaching it. So get your tickets at bijou.com. I think it's bijou.com. Just Google Bijou Knoxville, Tennessee Theater, Bijou Theater. It'll come up. Yeah. Greetings to Ireland. Yep. I'd love to come over there and play at some point, right? XTS is nailing it. My boys over there at XTS, they build all my stuff for me because they're the best in the industry, and I just love those guys. They say teamwork makes the dream work. No man is an island, and all that good stuff. It's a fact. I think that I've only come into my own over the past 6 years. Well, basically the Junktown record to now. I feel like I've really come into my own, finding what it is that I do. And it's because of leaning into those that I trust. XTS being a group of dudes that I highly trust. Anytime something crosses my mind, I probably wear them out with my stuff too much. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, is this think about doing this? Hey, you know, it's like, but if you don't have that sounding board, you can't progress and raise and elevate what you do. And that's so important. You want to elevate your guitar playing. You want to have a sound that's inspired. Have a workflow in your sound that's inspired. I jumped through all my tones. This board was built by XTS, and like I jumped through everything easy to navigate because we worked through it together, and we have iterations of different variants of this board, but the workflow stays the same. This is all not to be a commercial or an advertisement for XTS. Ironically, it ends up becoming that, but that workflow and doing things that way means that I don't think about it when I'm making music and I'm trying to play stuff that sounds good. It means that I'm in the zone on the gain stages that I can hear in my head and how much intensity I want, and do I want the fuzz to come in here, or how easy is the wah to get to? You know, it's like all of this stuff allows me, all of this teamwork that we're talking about between your monitor engineer, your front of house guy, your guitar tech, your guys that build your gear, your amp manufacturer, your guitar manufacturer. It's all symbiotic, and it works together to where hopefully at the very end of the equation, once you've done all this and you've assimilated all this stuff, that you're not thinking about it. You're not thinking about it. Watch a really great player sit down with nice gear. I see it a lot at Woodshed. Obviously, so many great players come to that event. Timmons will just walk up to something, plug in, and play it. And he immediately starts playing music. He's not flipping switches and trying to turn knobs and make it do. It's like, oh, this sound. Oh, this is the music that goes to that sound. Greg Cox, a master of that. You can just plug him into anything, and he just starts going. He just starts going for it. It's killer, So yeah, I mean, it's an understatement of how much team effort goes into things. It really is. It's just an understatement. XTS guys, if you're still watching this and you want to come to the Bijou show, I'll put you on the guest list. I'd love to have you guys. So, you let us know if you want to come into Knoxville and hang out. I'd love to have you. Mount Rushmore of guitar. Yeah, it's definitely a good one, right? Bruce is saying awesome with EJ. Thank you, Bruce. Hope to see you at the Bijou show. BB7813 is saying, have you ever had a problem with ground loops, noisy pickups? Adding EMGs to my telly made recording so much better. Yes, I have. That happens often. And there's so many things that can fall into those ground loops and how you navigate them. Again, working, with XTS on what I call my side of the table, which is things that happen before I get to front of house or the monitor console. Things that happen on my side of the table, I want to make sure that it works and it's clean and everything's good. And then if we develop a ground loop somewhere else, we know that it's external to my existence, right? Changing the pickups to EMGs. Now, I without knowing the situation that you're in, are you talking about having ground loops at your house, in your home studio, in your home environment, and then the EMGs fix it? Or was the EMGs an approach, a solve all to all the venues that you're playing? That's an interesting take right there. Is like, how do you navigate it? I'll say this as a guy that loves single coils and vintage style single coils. The silent single coil system that's in the Sir guitars, really a chef's kiss type of scenario. That's really nice, man. I've been in environments where like my Strat doesn't hum, but everybody else's Strats do. And again, I'm not having to change the pickups out, which is a big deal, right? Because you change the pickups out, now you're changing now you're changing a main ingredient in the gumbo. Okay, let's roll it on back to the house here, and I've got a guy that wants to come check out some stuff today, and a friend of mine, he wants to stop in and check out he wants to check out how I'm doing my live rig. He's a musician, and he said, man, I've seen your boards. I want to check them out. Can I stop by? So he's going to be coming by here in about 20 minutes. So I do need to be on time with the live stream today. I can't really just shoot from the hip like I normally do. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, hopefully get some medicine in me and some chicken noodle soup. Make feel better soon. The sinuses and the throat, it's like, when you change the heat and you turn the heat on in the house, two things happen every year. Every guitar freaks out. They all just like get wiggly, and then the sinuses freak out too. A couple of questions right here at the end. Andy, what are your thoughts on ampless setups and going all on in-ears? I hate it. I hate the ampless thing. I can't get the guitar to feedback. Look, this is going to sound like an awful thing. I'm going to sound like a douche canoe. But here's the deal. I'm blessed to be at a point in my career where I don't have to take a gig that doesn't line up with my musical desires. And I have no desire to be ampless on stage. Not going to do it. Gary from Flats, let me tell you why I love that gig. Because Gary loves it loud. He loves to rock. And he wants stage volume. And he wants it to be cool and fun and different, and he loves it. And it's like, I can dig that. I'll go out there and play What Hurts the Most. We're cranking, it's rocking. I love that. My music, Ben Eller and I have Skank Banger. It's like, I'm only going to play where I can do the thing that I like. Now, that sounds super douchey because not everybody has that luxury, and I'm super, super aware of that. Look, if you got to navigate a environment that is ampless, when you're dialing in, look at it this way. Here we go. If you're on in-ears, don't dial in your Axe effects for the studio monitors. Dial them in on the in-ears. Make sure you have enough time to work with your front of house guy to make sure the patches translate to front of house. But it's got to sound good to you. That's my best advice, you know. But ampless means the guitar doesn't have anything to talk to with volume. So it won't feed back and react like a guitar is supposed to, you know. And then last question. Do you ever think that some days you dial in a tone, you think it's awesome, and the next day you don't like it? Happens all the time. Barometric pressure, having a cold like today where I've got this stuffy thing, I'm not going to adjust any EQs on anything. I can tell things aren't right in my head, but that's not going to get changed today because I don't trust my hearing. You've got to be able to accept the fact that some days you're going to be hearing things with more top end or less top end based on all kinds of factors. When's the last time you had your ears cleaned by a professional? I'm not talking about shoving earwax in with a Q-tip. You want to really know what your stuff sounds like? Go get your ears cleaned out, especially if you're using in-ear monitors, right? Yeah. You know, guys, it was a great hang today. Appreciate y'all so much. The housekeeping that we're going to do today revolves around the Bijou. I really want to sell it out. We're almost there. So go to Bijou Theater. Come see us. If you don't want to come to the show or you live in Utah, go to that website, buy some tickets anyway, and pay them forward. If you would like to continue this type of conversation and you want to have an opportunity to speak with me directly, I host a live Zoom masterclass every Wednesday via my Patreon, and that's at the combo tier, $25 a month. You get access to 600 or 700 lesson videos, all these Axe effects patches and backing tracks and all that kind of stuff. And you get access to a weekly live Zoom masterclass. You can bring your comments and thoughts to the table, and we can work through those issues together. And it's a great community, great bunch of guys. So that's patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. And then, of course, the year is winding down, but typically you'll have all of the tour dates, online store. You can buy some t-shirts and buy the vinyl copy of the record. I have physical copies of the album. I've got signed copies, hoodies, all links to all the gear that I use. That's all going to be at andywoodmusic.com. So with that said, Chuck's put the links right there in the chat. That's all the housekeeping for today. Hope everyone has a great week, and be blessed. Get you some guitar picking on, and we'll see you Patreon members tomorrow night, and then I'll see the rest of you guys next week. Cheers.